Have you heard the story of the young boy who moved doctors to bow in deep respect? At just 11 years old, Liang Yaoyi showed how a single, selfless act can touch the hearts of millions. Although Liang's life was short, his legacy lives on in the memory of a nation. This story unfolds in Shenzhen, Guangdong Province, where in 2014, Liang's actions after his passing inspired doctors to bow 3 times. A rare honor typically reserved for emperors, deities, or people who performed remarkable acts. What could have moved them so profoundly? Growing up in Shenzhen, Liang was like any other young boy. Born healthy and full of life, he went to school, played with friends, and dreamed of becoming an inventor. But one day, everything changed. At the age of 9, Liang felt dizzy and mentioned it to his mother, who thought it was just a minor fever and gave him some medication, hoping he'd recover in a day or 2. But his condition only grew worse. As his symptoms became alarming, Liang's family rushed him to the hospital. After a series of tests, they received the crushing news. Liang had a brain tumor. Delivering this news to such a young boy and his mother was unimaginably hard. It meant a life filled with hospital visits, time away from school, and facing an uncertain future. Liang's parents were devastated, yet Liang held on to hope. Instead of being overwhelmed by his illness, he continued to dream, eventually deciding he wanted to help others by becoming a doctor. When the doctors shared the test results, Liang's parents were overcome with heartbreak, shedding endless tears as they faced the thought of losing their precious son. Yet, amidst their grief, Liang himself remained hopeful. He was determined to make his life meaningful and believed he could overcome his illness with enough willpower. Despite his condition, Liang faithfully took his medication and attended school whenever he was well enough. Over time, he let go of his dream to become an inventor, inspired instead to be a doctor who could save lives. A story he read in school about bone marrow transplants planted an idea that would later guide one of his most impactful decisions. As the months passed, Liang's health worsened, and he spent more days confined to the hospital, connected to countless tubes just to keep going. Attending school became nearly impossible, which saddened him deeply. His family supported him in every way they could, visiting often and bringing him books, which he devoured eagerly. Finances became tight as his parents poured everything into his treatment. Watching Liang suffer was emotionally wrenching, yet they remained steadfast in their love and support. His medical team, too, spared no effort in seeking treatments that could help him. Despite surgeries and intensive research, however, no cure could be found, and each attempt seemed in vain. By the time Liang turned 11, it was clear to him and his family that his time was limited. Even so, Liang was resolute in his desire to make a difference. Inspired by the stories he had read and all he'd learned about his condition, he approached his mother with a heartfelt decision. One day, while his mother visited him in the hospital, Liang shared his final wish with her. He wanted his organs to be donated after his death. "I won't need them once I'm gone," he said. "It would be better if they went to someone who could use them to stay alive." Liang explained that this would allow him to live on in a different way and help others in need. "This would be my chance to make someone else happy and to leave the world a little better," he told his mother. He stressed how important it was to him for his wish to be honored. "There are so many people doing wonderful things. They're great, and I want to be great too, even if I don't have much time. I want to leave something behind that people will remember. I want this to be my legacy," he said. It's every mother's nightmare to discuss her child's final wishes, but Li Kun couldn't help feeling proud of Liang's incredible selflessness. She tearfully agreed to honor his request, bringing Liang a deep sense of peace. Though life had dealt him a difficult hand, Liang was determined to do something meaningful. He believed greatness didn't require a long life, and though he couldn't have known the full impact of his decision, he undoubtedly achieved his goal. In June 2014, after a relentless battle with cancer, Liang passed away. His family was devastated, but his mother knew she could keep his memory alive by honoring his final wish. The hospital staff, already aware of Liang's intentions, were deeply moved. They had never expected someone so young to make such a decision, especially in China, where organ donations were uncommon. Cremation was the standard after death, and even voluntary blood donations were rare. Although China performs more transplants than any country except the United States, less than 1% of those in need receive these life-saving surgeries. Though Liang may not have fully understood the impact of his decision, he had the heart and courage to make a truly selfless choice. With his mother's blessing, the doctors prepared to fulfill his last wish. Surrounded by medical staff who could no longer save him, the doctors bowed to Liang 3 times, a gesture traditionally reserved for deities, emperors, and the most honorable of people. He was, without question, worthy of this honor. Moments later, Liang's kidneys and liver were carefully extracted and given to others in need, bringing new life and hope. True heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they are young souls like Liang, whose compassion reaches beyond their years. Liang Yaoyi now lives on through those he helped. "I am so proud of Liang," his mother Li Kun shared. "My son may have only lived 11 years, but in that short time, he achieved something incredible. I know his kindness will never be forgotten and his selflessness will inspire others." Liang taught his family unforgettable lessons about courage, compassion, and sacrifice. His example reminds us that selfless acts deserve to be celebrated and remembered, inspiring others to do what they can to make a positive difference in the world. What do you think about organ donation? Share your thoughts in the comments. If this story moved you, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. See you next time.